ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ करुणावरुणालय बालय मां भवसागरदुःखविदूनहृदं रचयाखिलदर्शनतत्त्वविदं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं। समस्तब्रह्मविद्याचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। परब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रुतिमात्रे नमः। वेदव्यासवैशम्पायने याज्ञवल्क्य आद्य शंकराचार्यवर्यादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। पारायणं ब्रह्मानंद मीमांसा, that is eighth mantra in the Brahmananda Valli. With that, this Brahmananda Valli will be over. Tomorrow we do the Bhrugu Valli. ओम अत श्री कृष्ण यजुर्वेदांतर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद पारायणं ब्रह्मानंद वल्ली ब्रह्मानंद मीमांसा। ओम ओम भीषास्माद्वातः पवते भीषोदेति सूर्यः भीषास्मादग्निश्चेन्द्रश्च मृत्युर्धावति पंचम इति सैषानन्दस्य मीमागं सा भवति युवा स्यात् साधु युवाध्यायकः आशिष्ठो दृढिष्ठो बलिष्ठः तस्येयं पृथिवी सर्वा वित्तस्य पूर्णा स्यात् स एको मानुष आनन्दः ते शतं मानुषा आनन्दाः स एको मनुष्यगन्धर्वाणामानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतं मनुष्यगन्धर्वाणामानन्दाः स एको देवगन्धर्वाणामानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतं देवगन्धर्वाणामानन्दाः स एकः पितॄणां चिरलोकलोकानामानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतं पितॄणां चिरलोकलोकानामानन्दाः स एक आजानजानां देवानामानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतमाजानजानां देवानामानन्दाः स एकः कर्मदेवानां देवानामानन्दः ये कर्मणा देवानभियन्ते श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतं कर्मदेवानां देवानामानन्दाः स एको देवानामानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतं देवानामानन्दाः स एक इन्द्रस्यानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतमिन्द्रस्यानन्दाः स एको बृहस्पतेरानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतं बृहस्पतेरानन्दाः स एकः प्रजापतेरानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य ते शतं प्रजापतेरानन्दाः स एको ब्रह्मण आनन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य चाकामः तस्य स यश्चायं पुरुषे यश्चासावादित्ये स एकः स य एवं विद अस्माल्लोकात् प्रेत्य एतमन्नमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामते एतं प्राणमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं मनोमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं विज्ञानमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतमानन्दमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति तदप्येष श्लोको भवते यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह आनन्दं ब्रह्मणो विद्वान् न बिभेति कुतश्च नेति एतगं हवावन तपते किमहगं साधुना करवं किमहं पापमकरवमिति स य एवं विद्वानेते आत्मानग्गः स्पृणुते उभेहे वैष एते आत्मानग्गः स्पृणुते य एवं वेद इत्युपनिषत् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ओम अथ श्री कृष्ण यजुर्वेदांतर्गत तैत्तिरीय आरण्यकांतर्गत तैत्तिरीय शाखांतर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद ओम यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदं धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः यैरिमे गुरुवे पूर्वं वदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान्नित्यं वृणतोऽस्म्यहं तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते अथ प्रथमा शिक्षा वल्ली अथ प्रथमोऽनुवाकः शान्तिमन्त्रः ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतो तद्वक्तारमवतो अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ अष्टमोऽनुवाकः प्रणवोपासनमन्त्राः ॐ ओमिति ब्रह्म ओमितीदगं सर्वम् ओमित्येतदनुकृतिः स्म वा अप्यो श्रावयेत्या श्रावयन्ते ओमिति सामानि गायन्ते ओगं शोमिति शस्त्राणि शगंसन्ते ओमित्यध्वर्यो प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृणाति ओमिति ब्रह्मा प्रसौति ओमित्यग्निहोत्रमनुजानाति ओमिति ब्राह्मण प्रवक्षन्नाह ब्रह्मोपाप्नवानेते ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Again, let us wholeheartedly salute entire Brahma Vidya Acharyas, the Parampara. Salute to Vedavyasa, Vaishampayana, Yagnavalkya. Salutations, pranams to our Bhagavan Adi Shankara, who made it Vispashtartha Ruchinam hi Vyakyayam Sampraniyate, easier for us to understand all Upanishads with his wonderful Padabhashya. Salutations to the Parabrahma Tattva, who is our goal. Salutations to the Shruti Mata, through whom we are recognizing the goal. Salutations to our own Swaguru Parampara and Guru. Having done so, if we want to put in few sentences, what is the entire spiritual sadhana? One, bringing our own mind into our cognition, bringing our own mind into our own hold, into our own hands. Two, somehow or the other, this mind which is brought into our hold or hands is made into Shuddha Sattva Guna, freed from The sleepiness of tamas freed from the distractionness of the rajas. Second one, making the mind sattva guna. How do we do? Through the japa, through the upasana, through always becoming aware of it, through entertaining the noble divine thoughts. These are the ways by which the mind which we bring into our hands, we can make it sattva guna. With this mind which is now brought into my hands, into my control, made sattva guna, either I merge it in the pure devotion, in the divine, through various the devotional sadhanas of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Either do this one, while doing so, the doer, the Aham also, through those processes, merges in devotion into that Lord. Other is the same antakarana shuddha antakarana, shuddha mana, no mana buddhi chitta all are same. The shuddha mana should be employed in the deep study of the Upanishads. Through the study, when the Upanishadic theme of Brahma Vidya is listened or the heard or understood, then the contemplation on that Brahma Tattva, the Shuddha Antakarana or Mana with the Sattva Guna we have to do. When that contemplation, meditation becomes very, very deeper, then all the layers, covers of ignorance keep going away. Then, in the recognition of the absolute deep most self or the truth or Paramatma or the Tattva or the reality or Brahma or Atma, whatever names you give, in the experience of that, the mind which we were employing in the discovery of the self, it gets merged in that. The mana gets merged in the experience of I, the supreme truth or self or reality. In short, these are the sadhanas which we have to, as a summary, always keep in mind. And any other studies of Shastras we do, any other recommended sadhanas we do, all of them are aiming at these few things. And that is called pure spiritual sadhana. Anything other than that also is sadhana, but not leading to the spirit or the self. Therefore, it is not the spiritual sadhana. It will be a sadhana for earning the punyam with which the higher and greater world we may get. It may be the sadhana for earning the siddhis with which again you can help yourself live a comfortable life, even help others. But none of them are the adhyatma sadhana, spiritual sadhana, leading to the spiritual experience of the absolute truth. So, so let us become little clear day by day about what are the things that are possibly that can be done, among them which are sadhanas, among them which are the adhyatmika sadhanas and non-adhyatmika sadhanas. So everything where the Paramatma is not made as the goal are sadhanas but not paramarthika. They can be dharmartha kama related, not mukti related. But any sadhana where the realization of the self is aimed at, that all becomes adhyatmika sadhana. And we stick to adhyatmic sadhana, whether it takes one life or 10 lives or 100 lives, no matter, we have to be convinced about the adhyatma tattva only as the goal. Shastra study slowly helps us along with our own personal mananam chintanam, where all the questions and doubts in the which are obstructing to get convinced about Paramatma alone goal are removed. All the questions, doubts can be removed by Shravana Manana. Questions and doubts regarding what? Why Paramatma alone has to be the goal. This all was dealt in the Upadghata Bhashyam only of this, the Taittiriya Upanishad. If you remember that, the Atma Kamitve, Apta Kamatvam, all those discussions in the very first 3 4 classes, it was very clearly explained. Vispashtartha Ruchinami Vyakyayam. And if we were attentive at that time and always are aware of it, we would have been always in the clarity that other than Paramatma, nothing else can be the goal. It can be, you can choose, but having reached there, still we are disappointed, we are in limitation, we are bondage. Still, if you are in disappointation, appointment, limitation, and bondage, how can we say we have reached the goal? Correct? We can say we have reached the goal only when we having reached, so there is no more higher greater goal than that remains to be achieved. Like so many mountains we climb, but still that is not the reaching of the goal, because there is the Everest mountain, the tallest in the world, as they say. So therefore you have not reached the goal. But when we reach the peak of the Everest, you can say you have reached, because there is nothing beyond that. So Paramatma Anubhuti is the ultimate, beyond which there is nothing. Therefore, if at all one says one wants to reach a goal, only this has to be the goal. Other things can be the aims or intermediate ambitions, visions, kuch bhi ho. But ultimate goal is only knowing the self or the truth. So keep these few things in mind. One, what is spiritual sadhana is bringing the mind to our cognition and control, purifying it and making it Shuddha Sattva Guni, employing it in through the bhakti in the merger of divine, or employing it in through the Vedantic Vicharana in the merger of the Atma Vastu. This is what is the, in short, whatever hundreds and thousands of sadhanas that are told for us to do, all of them aimed at this only. Sometimes we have to know very exhaustive definitions also, detailed exhaustive, sometimes the precise sutra rupa also. This is a sutra rupa. And to become convinced about it, to remove the wrong notions, until we become fully established in the beginning of sadhana and in the continuous consistency of the sadhana. What continuously helps us, not allowing us to get distracted, derailed, is the Nitya Nirantara Upanishad Shravanam. Daily Upanishad Shravanam keeps us on the track, protects us from going away from the track or the railing, protects us from going into the derailment at this level till we become fully established in the sadhana consciously. Before that, if we are not regular in our studies, anytime the mind with its very powerful power of imagination will just in micro moments time, without our notice or permission, it can fully involve in the world. By the time we realize that, Array, I am thinking of the world instead of Paramatma, all the time is over. Therefore, never ever leave the study, listening to the Upanishad Satsangam, followed by one's own personal study. By the way, keep that in mind. Now, yesterday we took up an idea of refreshing what we have studied so far in the 8 Anuvakas before we enter into the ninth one. Up to 7th Anuvaka we spoke yesterday. Today, the summary of the 8th Anuvaka we talk little bit. Then we will take up the ninth one. In the 7th one, it was the conscious effort of doing Mahad Brahma Upasana by observing the Pankta. What was the Rishi's words there toward the end? Panktam va idagam sarvam pankte naiva panktaggas prunoti. Is it not? Hmm? Panktam idam sarvam panktena eva panktaggas prunoti is the last sentence of this Saptama Anuvaka. Before that, the 6 Panktams were told. They are Adibhautika Panktams are 3, There's a Bhuta Panktam, Devata Panktam, Loka Panktam. And three Adhyatmika Panktams were told, that is the Vayu Panktam, the Indriya Panktam, Dhatu Panktam. Once we are clear in the information about these three inner and outer Panktams, now the relation is told. What is that? Panktam va idagam sarvam. Relation is the entire outer world, which we see as idam idam, is nothing but made up of panktams. Realize that. Without the panktam, nothing in the idam can be made. Then, whatever the idam panktam is made out, how we are able to perceive it, how we are able to contact it, how we are able to get whatever we need from it, because of the inner panktam. Point 2. Without the inner panktam, the outer panktam cannot be contacted. Without the outer panktam, the inner panktam cannot sustain at all. Because of this, therefore, panktam va idagam sarvam pankte naiva panktagya sprunoti means what? Without the outer pankta, my inner panktams cannot function. Therefore, the inner panktam should be always in tune with the outer panktam. It should not again get distracted or derailed. So, recognizing the outer panktam, respecting it, revering it, tuning to that only, the inner panktam should behave, even though the other way of behavior is possible. That will be destructive. And who made this system of the outer panktam made for the totality, inner panktam made for every individual, so that every individual, while tuning to the outer total panktam, slowly expands in his identity. All that setup is made by the Mahat Brahma. When the inner panktams are totally in tune with the outer, without any distractions or their own personal ambitions or anything. What is the ultimate goal that is reached? The ultimate goal reached is yo veda saha prajapatyatma eva bhavati tyartaha. He becomes one with that Prajapati Mahat Brahma. So that Prajapati Mahat Brahma will give this person of effort the identity with himself. That is the glorious final result of the Pankta Upasana. Outer Pankta recognized, inner Pankta recognized that the inner is working because of outer, therefore the inner should work only for the outer. It should not have its own inner ambitions, personal ambitions. All of that are destructive, they are all binding only. In this way, when the inner are tuned only for the outer, the inner merge with the outer, then the owner of the inner merges with the owner of the outer. The owner of the outer total panktam, he is Prajapati, Prajapati. So with that Prajapati or Prajapita or Hiranyagarbha or Mahat Brahma, one becomes one with her. This we have to do mananam for few times till the understanding becomes clear. Once understanding is clear, then keep on doing that Pankta Upasana throughout life. So, this Taittiriya Upanishad is putting in front of us so many upasanas for the so many different seekers or one seeker only. Through using of all these upasanas practices in various stipulated periods of his own sadhana kala, he is identifying with Mahat Brahma. Thereafter he'll go beyond. तो जिसको जो उपासना पसंद है वो कर सकते हैं, या एक ही बंदा सारे उपासनाएं कर सकते हैं. Somebody will do the Samhita Upasana, somebody will do Medha Sri Kama Upasana, somebody will do the Vyaharuti Upasana, somebody will do the Dhara Akasha Sthita, Jiva Upasana, and the subsequent merger consciously into Mahad Brahma. Somebody do the Pankta Upasana. Yeah, any of them you use, rise above individuality, come to identify with the total. Very crucial thought it is. If the individuality is not transcended, either by identifying into the totality or entering into Paramatma Tattva, we are not doing spiritual sadhana. Any amount of so-called sadhanas done, yet I, if continue as an individual, that too identified with a set of particular upadhis, after which I think and talk the language of differences with other individuals and the total, I have not understood spiritual sadhana at all. I am not doing the sadhana at all. I am a samsari. Samsari's lakshana is that only, na? Samsari is an individual. That individual identified with this one's personal upadhi. Then he became an isolated jiva. Then he taking others as separate from him. Therefore, establishing raga and dvesha. Seeing the things as other than him. Therefore, having desires from it. He is called samsari. If after doing all spiritual sadhana, if still we are continuing to be the same, then where is the change come? Where has the change come in us? So how do we say we are sadhaka? So we should ask a question. What is the meaning of sadhana? How do we say, when do we say that we are growing in the Upanishadic sadhana, the Vedanta sadhana, the Advaita Atmanubhuti sadhana is this, where me the individual is not identified with the individual nor identified or isolated associated with any of the other individuals, then it is always in identity with the total or beyond. समष्टि से तादात्म्य और समष्टि से भी परे परब्रह्म तादात्म्य ही जिनका प्रयत्न है, जिनका लक्ष्य है, जो कर रहा है उसके लिए ही उनको कहते हैं साधका, उसी को कहते हैं साधना है। वहां पहुंचो तो उसको कहते हैं सिद्धि। बिकॉज द संसार इज बिकॉज ऑफ इंडिविजुअलिटी। This individuality either should merge in the totality or in the divinity. Imagine if individual merges in the total, then what happens? I, the total, only is expressing through all the individualities. I only expressing through all of them. Therefore, they are not other than me. Therefore, I am not bound or limited by any of those limitations. The vision of the ocean, vision of the wave. Wave is an individuality. But the ocean is, I am there permeating in all the waves. Either the wave should merge in the ocean or should merge in the water. If it doesn't merge in the ocean, the cause or the water which is beyond the wave or oceanness, wave when it remains as wave, it always has fear, competition, problem with other waves, and it has fear with its own self, that it is going to get subsided or eliminated or it is going to die. And naturally, every individuality or every wave will have to fight with other waves, every wave will have to die. How? Why? As long as if the wave takes itself to be separate from the total ocean. When the identity is with the ocean, be attentive. Then any number of the waves coming and going doesn't bother at all. So too, I, an individual, need not be identified with the upadhi. I can be identified with the samashti. The entire process is this only through the Taittiriya Upanishad indicated upasanas. All the Samhita Upasana kaho, Medashri Upasana, Vyarti Upasana, Dharakasha, as well as Pangta and the Pranava, which we are going to see now. The aim of all of that is lifting our identity from individual to total, from that to the absolute truth, which is little more deeper and subtler, because there none of the substantial concrete Rupanamas are there. It is seemingly abstract, but that is the reality. Entering into that, we have to be freed from all entanglements. Entanglements go away when we give up individual upadhis. That will happen when we merge the individual upadhis in the total. And that is done when I, the individual, surrender to the total, tune to the total, in which all my thinking, acting is according to the total. And the entire Shastra, whatever Varnashrama Dharma, it indicates us to do. The idea of all of that is to make us tune to the total only. Every traffic rule is to tune to the total traffic. Every discipline in the classroom is to tune to the total class. Every rule imposed on us as to how to live inside and outside, called as dharma, are only to tune to the total. Tuning to the total, identifying or merging with the total, so that individual isolation and the suffocations consequent are not at all felt. And also, those individualities only eternal obstructions in discovering the beyond, in discovering the absolute Satchidananda Parabrahma Tattva. So, in both ways, individual sufferings also go away and become qualified for knowing the truth when the individuality is surrendered to the totality. Clear? Now, same thing is theoretically, practically told to us through the Pranava Upasana, which is a very big, very huge, very vast, very deep, very detailed prasanga topic. We will see today for some time as many details as we can gather. Okay, now drop the seventh Anuvakas, all that पांगता उपासना टॉपिक हो गया स्वामी जी, ये तो कभी की ड्रॉप कर दिया हमने. Now come to the eighth anuvaka. What is taught is, first listen in the ashtama anuvaka, which we have studied 5 7 days. We are here today to summarize it. It is talking about pranava upasana. Okay, and it is such a exhaustive, very detailed, deep, understanding oriented nitya nirantara upasana. Understanding oriented nitya nirantara upasana means there is a nitya nirantarata in the understanding, and there is nitya nirantarata in using that understanding to do the upasana. If you forget the understanding, then you can't do upasana. If you don't do upasana, then there's no need of understanding. All the time we have to be in that understanding and upasana. That is called pranava upasana. Everything related to pranava. So, few things we will start discussing now. One, Om iti Brahma. This is what the first discussion. Straight away, Upanishad Mantra only. Based on this Ashtama Anuvaka only we are discussing. So, Om iti Brahma. So, what Bhashyakara said as Om iti. Om, enough. Don't need to add even in one extra syllable. No need. Om itself is enough. For what? Is Brahma. Now pause here for a 10 seconds and feel it. What Upanishad says. Om iti Brahma. Ho gaya. But how come Om bhi Brahma? Brahma is Brahma only. But can you experience Brahma as any objective? No, it is subject. Then the subjective Brahma experienceable alone is, listen carefully, in the Shabda Rupa as Brahma. Ultimately, everything is Brahma. Ultimately, we have to realize everything is Brahma. Now, in that everything, we see Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. The entire world is made up of all that. Among them, the subtlemost is Shabda. Yeah, therefore the Om is Shabda Rupa Brahma. That is what is the definition he gave. What is Om? Brahma. How come which Brahma? Brahma cannot be perceivable, conceivable. It is only experiential. No? Yeah, that is what is our ultimate goal also. There is no doubt regarding that. But at this level, for us to have a strong support of Om as Upasana Alambana, we have to know that it is Upanishad Vedanta sanctioned. Shabda Rupa is Om. Clear? What is Om? Shabda Rupa Brahma. Om is Brahma only. Shabda Rupa Brahma. Okay? Shabda Rupa Brahma is Om. Thereafter, the second thing is what? Once the Brahma Tattva itself is attributed to the Om, listen carefully. From that onwards, every sentient beings, especially whom we worship as the Devatas, especially the Devatas about whom we talk and say that they are the ones managing the internal and external every affairs of the world that are happening. All those conscious sentient beings also are the Om that we have to add to, so that our further, the highest is given, Om iti Brahma. Then who is the Ishvara? Who is the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karaka? Srishti Sthiti Laya Karaka Ishvara is same Brahma through the conditioning of the Maya. Therefore, Om is Brahma. Brahma is Om. Therefore, who is the Ishvara? Ishvara also has to be the Omkara only. Is it not? So, Brahma is goal. In between, for the sadhanas, in the Saguna Sakara Upasanas, Ishvara Adi Alambanas, we do sadhana as told by the Gurus to us. While doing it, we have to merge that Ishvara also in the Om. Because Om is Brahma, therefore Om is the Ishvara. Srushti Sthiti Laya Karaka. Then through the Rajas, Tamas and Sattva Guna, when that Ishvara is doing Srushti Sthiti Laya Karanam, doing that, as a Srushti Karta, he is Brahma. As a Sthiti Karta, he is a Vishnu. And as a Laya Karta, he is Shiva. Is it not? That's what the whole world. I am explaining to you in detail what is the meaning of Omkara, what is said here, and what is said elsewhere put together, so that at one place we have maximum data. Now, who is Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara for a common man? Is a Sushti Sthitилaya Karakas. And for them, each of them are totally different only. That's how the ordinary common person, not exposed to Shastras, thinks so. And less harm to him, like that saying. What is less harm? Only the harmness of taking them as different. But otherwise, they believe in Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara, that itself is a good achievement. But for you and me, who is this Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara then? Obviously, they also have to be the Omkara only. Because Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara is Ishvara, the Ishvara is Parabrahma. Parabrahma is Om, therefore Ishvara is Om. Therefore, who is Brahma Vishnu Maheshwara is Om. This is called as Om Upasana. This way, recognizing, understanding, accepting. All these substantial things are mentioned in other Puranas. In the Veda Kala, it was not required. In Veda Kala, only two. One is Parabrahma, second is Mahat Brahma. That Mahat Brahma only we are explaining as Ishvara, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Ityad. Then obviously, I need not tell all the avatars of whether Brahma if he takes, Vishnu if he takes, Shiva if he takes, all of them therefore have to be Om. Why? Because Om iti Brahma. Then what are all those beings who have come from the Brahma Deva for the maintenance of entire creation? Whether they are the Nivrutti Parayana, Sanakadi Kumaras, Sanaka Sanandana Sanatana, Sanat Kumara, or the Pravrutti Parayanas of the Prajapatis and Manus, and Pravrutti, Nivrutti, mixed Parayana of the Rishis, Munis, etc. Rishi Muni are Nivrutta because they are in Brahma Jnana, Pravrutta because they are the ones who are the custodians and the ones who spread the Vedic Jnana. Who are all the Rishis then? Who are the Prajapatis? Who are the Manus? Who are the Sanat Kumaradi? Who are the Rudradi? Who are the Indradi? Who are the Varunadi? Who are the Vayu? No, remember, all of them have come from Brahmadeva. Brahmadeva has come from Ishvara. Ishvara is Parabrahma. Parabrahma is Omkara. Therefore, by acceptance, we have to understand that every of the Devata Swarupa who are guiding our inner faculty, outer faculties, none but Om. In this way, we are remembering them, we are worshipping them. Same time, their differences, while we worship them, while they bless us, we are dissolving all of them in one Om. That is called as Pranava Upasana. Understood? All devatas are there, but finally every one of them are Om because all devatas are expression of Parabrahma. Parabrahma is Om. Goal is neither Om nor devatas. Goal is Parabrahma. Parabrahma is Anubhava Gamya. It is even beyond Om. But Om takes us very close. How? When we do Upasana of Om. What is Upasana of Om? Om iti Brahma. Every devata at different levels of our sadhana we invoke. We see them. We all of that. But never ever we forget this aspect that the every devata is eventually is Om only. Why? Because Om is Brahma's Shabda Rupa. It is said in the Vedanta Upanishad Grantha, and we are taking Om as Upasana. It is our choice. You don't want to take, don't take. But after choosing Om as Upasana Alambana, we are doing all that. Ultimately, Om also you have to drop. Don't worry. Don't get frightened or conditioned. ओम को भी त्यागना पड़ता है पर ब्रह्म में जाने के लिए, बट बाकी सबको मर्ज करने के लिए ओम को पकड़ना पड़ता है. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ एनी आलम्बना फॉर दैट मैटर, but more authenticated Upanishadic Alambana is Om for various reasons which we were discussing last 7-8 days. Every one of them, again, I will not repeat now. I am telling totally the untouched, uncovered topic. The other topics, much I will not discuss, which we have seen. I will not even remind you, you know it. हो गया. Om iti Brahma means what? Every conscious Satchidananda entity which is reverberating with powers and expressions, all of them are Om. Now we talked about Devatas. Then what about the Jivas? Whether they are in Pashuyoni or Pakshiyoni or Vanaspatiyoni or Manushayoni. The Jivas are in that only, no? These are the four yonis in which all living beings are created. Therefore, jatis. Manushya, Pashu, Pakshi, Vanaspati. The way of their birth is Vedaja, Andaja, Jaraja, Udbija. Now, in all of them, the consciousness is there or not? Yeah. That consciousness is Brahma only, no? Yeah. The Brahma is Om, no? Yeah. Therefore, every living Jiva is nothing but Om. This is how we are convincing our mind. In that conviction only, all the living beings, we are merging in Om by saying that Om only is all this. The common thing is, very many discussions are there. Only one I am telling you. Other things we already discussed, maybe it will come little later. If it is required, we will take up that. Everything is Brahma, everything is Oma, therefore every being is Om only. This is how the Upasana is done. Okay, any being you are seeing now, he is living being, he has got consciousness. Consciousness is Parabrahma, Parabrahma is Oma, therefore all these beings are Om. In this way, a lot of time when we do, be attentive. The perceptions received by the eyes, which differentiated the beings. And then the thoughts which are made in the mind after the perceptions, which are also differentiating, doesn't differentiate them because we are accepting all of them as Om. When they are all accepted as Om, non differentiated, then there will be no disturbance of them. Disturbance in the mind comes because of the differential thoughts. The same thought, if it is there, it won't differentiate. Disturb it. It won't disturb. Like there are 20 people, all are Indians. You are Indian. So you are seeing 20. There are all differences, but that doesn't create the disturbance in us because you know all Indian. Suddenly a Japanese, Portuguese, Dhuti, Mano. Now there is beings only you are seeing, but some cause because of which you are accepting the difference immediately it disturbs. Observe this thought. Try to catch this thought. Is it not? Now take all of them as one unit called as human beings. Drop that is Indian or Japanese. Then all are human beings standpoints. Then differences you are seeing. But one jati they are as human you are taking. Your mind is not disturbed. Suddenly in that a guy wears or any cat and buffalo comes. Suddenly you get disturbance. Why? Because difference. Accepted. They are human is non-human. But take them all as living beings. Everything is living being. One common thing taken. There is no difference. What disturbance? What I'm saying is differences accepted causes disturbance. Now everything is taken as Om. Then there is no difference that way accepted. Therefore, there is no disturbance in the mind. This is how everything is Om. This Upasana quietens the mind. In the Purana Kala, every being is Rama Rupa, Krishna Rupa, Devi Rupa. है ना? अरबाला देवी की प्रतिमा बच्चा बच्चा राम है, चंदन है इस देश की माटी, तपोभूमि हर गांव है, हर बाला देवी की प्रतिमा बच्चा बच्चा राम है. There's somebody wrote. This is called upasana. Upasana is merging differences in one. How beautiful. Do it. Dekho, one made as many is a concept only which we are entertaining from so many lives, knowingly or unknowingly, but that is becoming cause of all dukkha, bondage, samsara. है the manyness also, wrong practice done. Then the oneness also, right practice done. Manyness creates samsara, oneness eliminates the samsara. Our goal is neither many nor one. Our goal is beyond. That beyond is not even one. It is one without second. The calculations don't work there. It is such a one which is without second. But many are disturbing us. Many should be merged in one so that the disturbance is avoided. For that, an alambana is required. Om is given as an alambana. Okay? Om iti Brahma explained. Everything is expression of Brahma. Oh, Brahma is Om. Therefore, everything is Om. Before reaching the transcendental Brahma, merge every different things in the conceptual Omkara, perceivable Omkara, acceptable Omkara. Om is Alambana. Om iti Brahma. Okay? Om iti Brahma. Second one. Then what about the non-sentient inanimate things? You talked of the living beings. What about the inanimate things which are around, which are used by us? So too in all the animate living beings, their upadhis also generally jada. What about all of them? Second line. Omiti idagam sarvam. Dekha? In two lines only, the Upanishad Rishi has given us how the Om Upasana has to be done, in which everything living, non-living are to be merged in Om as accepting all of them as Om. Om iti idam sarvam. And this we explained. Therefore, that help can be taken. Every idam is what? The rupam. Every rupam depends on the nama. Every nama is shabda. All shabdas put together are a, o, and ma. A, uma is called om, which came from amatra, which came from parabrahma. Okay, the Parabrahma Sthiti himself is in another world called Amatra Sthiti. From the Amatra only, the Mamatra, from that Umatra, from the Amatra came. Then Uma became modified to become entire Shabdas of the world, words of the world, and all the Shabdas alone have appeared or become or taken as the Rupa. शब्द रूप का ओके एकता को हमें समझना है शब्द रूप का कौन किसके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है समझना है एट द डिपेंडेंसी लेवल रूपा डिपेंड्स ऑन नाम एट द एकता लेवल एवरीथिंग इज शब्द ओनली every matter how much ever solid it appears to be you have to go on going if you go on going into the subtlemost causes of it it merges only in the shabda. Shabda grossified is Rupa. All signs also accepts now. Everything is the vibration only. Vibration of the Shabda. Shabda again has different styles. The Paravan is ultimate. Beyond that, what is there is Parabrahma. So the Nada Upasana is a huge different science altogether, holding on to the Shabda, reaching to Parabrahma. Mahayogis do that. We have not studied all that. We don't know. That is not the topic. Here we are trying to follow what the Upanishad Rishi said as Om Upasana. It's all belief. It's all practice with a definite purpose. After doing all that and reaching the purpose, all these things are dropped. After reaching the home, you drop the car in the garage. But at the time of starting and driving, you are so respectful in the car, with the car. So too, Om is dropped ultimately in the Brahmanubhuti. But before that, Om is the vehicle in which we are traveling. What is the travel there? Upasana of Om. What is the Upasana? Om iti Brahma, Om iti idam sarva. First we are explaining the Siddhanta. Then the application of it. So Om iti Brahma, Om iti idam sarva. Idam sarvam is Om. Whatever I see is idam to me. Whether it is the thought level idam, whether it is gross shabda sparsha rupa rasagandha idam. If you really allow me to explain or the Rishi to say, even Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, all the three avasthas, be attentive, are experienced by us as my experiences. The moment they are said as my, then I am separate from them. My kursi, I am separate from chair. My house, I am separate from the house. Same thing, my Jagrad Avastha, I am separate from Jagrad. My Swapna, my Nidra, I am separate from that. Anything separate from me, known by me, is called Idam. Therefore, Idam is equal to Jagrad, Swapna, Sushupti, three avasthas, in which entire our experiences fall. Therefore, everything experienced is Om because everything Idam is Om and everything experienced is experienced as Idam and all that is Jagra Sapna Sushupti. Means this is how we contemplate on the meaning of these two lines. The result of which is our intellect is getting convinced that everything is Om. This is only intellectual conviction. That is not sufficient. Then, because everything is Om, intellectually convinced, we have to come to that feeling and experience also inside. Therefore, practically also we have to do the upasana that everything is Om. Theory ho gaya. Like we say, everything is Ram. But still, when we deal with everything, we deal with everything as if we have forgotten that everything is Ram long back. वो कोई फायदा नहीं करता हमको. So, what is spiritual sadhana? Ki everything to be done is done at their own level. Yet, not missing the Om in and through them. Okay? Later on, the Om also is merged in deep meditation in the experience of the conscious Param Brahma. That effort, the first level effort is called a Pranava Upas. Second level mein Pranava merges in Parabrahma Anubhuti, which we'll talk later. But here, like that is what is the entire thing explained here. When we explain it, you will know it. We'll tell it in two ways. One is what is said in this Ashtama Anuvaka after giving us Om as Alambana by saying that Om iti Brahma, Om iti Devasarga is in a Yagna everything is done by everybody, whoever has to do whatever. While they are interacting with each other, while each one is performing what they have to do, now listen carefully. None of them are away from the idea of the Om. That is the meaning, purpose of giving the example of the Agnishala. First one, we'll explain it. Second one is what? Once we practice in the Yagnashala, the Upasana of Om, wherein everything is understood to have come from Om, everything is understood by staying in Om, everything is merging back in Om. In the Yagnashala, when it is practiced, like in the puja room, we practice that Salagrama is Vishnu. Thereafter, the entire universe is Vishnu, and I am his Bhakta, and all what I do throughout life is my Bhakti Arpana to the Vishwarupa Vishnu. That is the purpose of the Upasana, which we are going to study again today evening in our Bhagavatam. Yesterday we came up to the initial introductions. Today we'll talk about the four levels of Upasana, then the three aspects of Upasana, the Purva Puja, Mukhya Puja, and Uttara Puja. So there we will be discussing today. Here only we are saying his Alagrama Vishnu Upasana will not be complete if we don't take the entire world as Vishnu and we are his Upasakas. People don't know it. Therefore, they restrict themselves as a Upasaka only in puja room. Therefore, there only they behave decently. When they come out, they are totally indecent because outside there is no Vishnu. A particular place they achieved, but they have forgotten that that is not sufficient and that's not ultimate. Here also, in the Yagnashala, everything done, yet everything is practically made permeated by Om. Now, throughout the day, you can't do Yagnam. There are many other things to be done. Do means to say that then we should forget the Omkara? No. That practice of merging everything in Om in Yagnashala should be expanded in throughout life's activities in such a way that everything is done as Yagna, where is no selfishness, and in the Yagna of everything that is done outside, every aspect of it is nothing but Om alone. This Upasana we have to do. Thus, whether we are in yajna, actually in yajnashala, or we are in any other activities, whether it's in the dining table eating, making food in the kitchen, going into the fields and working, interacting with the people on some issues, all laukika vyavahara is happening as it is. Selfishness aspect is removed from that. Everything is done for the totality in the spirit of yajna. Yet while all those are happening, all of them are nothing but Om. This conscious awareness about the Om is called as Om Upasana. Why? Because Om iti Brahma, Om iti Idagam Sarvam. For every question of the why, the answer is the first two lines. That's why we took time to explain those two lines. Om iti Brahma, Om iti Idam Sarvam. Then by Omiti Brahma, Omiti Sarvam, if you can sit and meditate and realize, you need not go to Yagnashala. You not do the Upasana of the Om during your Vyavahara. But at this moment, are we so pure in our heart, freed from all the कर्म वासनास, कर्म संस्कारास, कंपल्शंस फ्री है, तो आपको ये यज्ञ का एग्जाम्पल देने की जरूरत नहीं है. ओम इति ब्रह्म, ओम इति इदगम सर्वम, go on contemplating, you realize. But we are bound by so many obligations, so many identities, so many duties. Is it not? We are not so purified, we are not totally into the ultimate meditation of the truth. Therefore, for us only upasana is taught. These are all upasana, remember. उपासना किसको चाहिए? जिसका अंतःकरण अभी डिस्टर्ब्ड है विथ डिफरेंसेस. द वन हू स्टिल हैज गॉट वैल्यू रियलिटी टू द वर्ल्ड ऑफ थिंग्स एंड बीइंग्स एंड एक्शंस एंड रिजल्ट्स. फॉर दैट पर्सन उपासना इज रिक्वायर्ड. The one who is perfect Viveki, perfect Vairagi, and achieved all the Shamadhi Shatka Sampada, and other than wanting to know the truth called as Mumukshutva, there is no ambition in him. For him, Tattvamasmaha ki Upadesha, he just thought things about the Vachyartha, Lakshyartha, both of them, drops Vachyartha and recognizes oneness of the Lakshyartha. Uska ho gaya. He is not at all required to do any upasana. रिमेंबर, ये किनको बता रहे हैं याद रखना. नॉट फॉर द हाईली क्वालिफाइड. Okay, for you and I, who still have some ambitions to achieve of the world, some desires are there, or desires are not there, at least some obligations are there, some outer duties are there. Then if you, they also endless, the obligation duties भी खत्म ही नहीं होते वो हर एक जन्म में. Then when will you meditate? While doing them only you can meditate by merging all of them in Om. That's called Upas. When that is done, none of the impressions of the world fall because everything is taken as home and done. Then on the seat of meditation, none of the thoughts will disturb you. You can take the Om only for Ucharana and the Dirgha Ucharana ke baad between two Oms, we focus attention on that, you will reach the Amatra easily. Or Jagra Swapna Sushupti merging in Auma, in U, in Ma, Maina Matra, all of that becomes natural, effortless. Because the mind is fully cooperating. Why? There's no samsara in the mana. Why? While involving in the world, we did not allow the things and beings and happenings to create impression. Why? Because while doing everything, we took everything as Om, and while doing so, we merged everything in Om. Try to be intellectual in understanding the process and the outcome. First, try to be intellectual in understanding the process that is indicated, then the outcome that is indicated. Once you apprehend intellectually, then start doing it. Then it's called practical upasana. Now we are understanding theoretically what is the upasana of Omkara that is mentioned. Okay. Now, one by one we'll take, and for one or two things, I'll give you examples or the correlation. Remaining is homework for you. Yajnashala and outer Vyavahara. Both of them we are merging in Om. In such a way, everything is happening but not away from, apart from, independent of other than Omkar. ओमकार से ही सब हो रहे हैं, सब निकल रहे हैं. ओमकार में ही सब कुछ हो रहे हैं. ओम में ही सब मर्ज कर रहे हैं. ऐसा भावना करना इसको उपासना. Why is it so? Why I have to do it? Because you have to come out of the differentiations which were creating samsara, obstructing you to rise above in meditation. Second is, just now we studied na Omiti Brahma, Omiti Dagam Sarvam. उपनिषद ऋषि ने कहा, तो भरोसा का भी एक बात होता है कि नहीं, श्रद्धा का. So the Shraddha in the words of the Upanishad Rishi and the need to dissolve all the differences. Because of these two, we are doing the Abhyasa practice of the Upasana, that anything I am doing, they are coming from Om. Anything I am doing, that is happening in Om. Whatever I concluded doing, it merged in Om. ऐसा उपासना करना. इंटेलेक्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग वाला ओम के बारे में एंड वोकली अटरिंग ओम, विच एवर इज रिक्वायर्ड वॉट एवर टाइम. ओम उच्चारणम एंड ओम कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग. रिमेंबर इट, इट्स अ वेरी बड़ा जादू. इवन इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड, इट्स नॉट इजी. Tough, I know. You have to be very attentive and contemplative to grasp what is said. Or Panche Bar Suno, YouTube may record, you may get an idea. Okay, now one by one we will see. First, Om Ityetadanukkruti. Is it not? When in the Yagnashala, the disciple is asking, may I do this, sir? Can I go there, sir? This is the question. What did the Guru say? Om Anukaranam. Anukaranam. Anukaranam is permission granted. Then when they came back, having done the work, the disciple, so I came back from there, work accomplished, reported. What did the Guru say? Om. So in Yagnashala, the going, doing, coming, stopping the work to be done is merged in the Omkar. For the Guru, for the disciple, it is an actual activity. We are seeing it from not the performer standpoint here. We are seeing it from the Om Upasaka standpoint, this Anuvakam. Our drishti is not the child or the brahmachari who went and did the work and came. Our drishti is in the Guru who has given him Omkar permission only by uttering Om. So he has fulfilled his duties of doing Omkara, sorry, doing yajnas, or doing the work. Now he has come to the position of commanding them, permitting them. And he is using that advantage of no need to do any karma physically, but command and demand. That thing is taking advantage to use as Omkara Upasana, where by saying home, he is saying home. It is in a vague manner for him, the meaning is permission granted. But for the disciple, it's a very substantial order. Means permission. हाँ गुरु ने ओम कहा मतलब उन्होंने मेरे को permission दे दी. All these feelings are in the disciple. In the guru, om bas. If the disciple asks Guruji, what is the meaning of om? Beta om means permitted. When the question is asked, then Guru will say om. Guru is always in the mental om upasana. Some disturbance came in from outside when the disciple asked him, clear? That I want to go and do that work. Guru doesn't want to get disturbed from his mental inner upasana of Om. But the disturbance came and it has to be answered. Otherwise, that fellow will be nagging. What Om he is doing inside, Om only uttered outside. But that was enough for that child as a permission. Guru was also happy that this fellow no more stop disturbs me. He's gone away. Then he stopped saying the outer Om. He is back to his own inner Om. So where is the Guru always? He is in the Omkar. Inner Omkara, outer Omkara. Inner Omkara as Anubhava, if is already reached, or inner Omkara as inner Upasana, or the outer Omkara to give him as permission. See the feeling? So, otherwise, beta jao, ठीक तरह से जाना, carefully जाना, इधर उधर गिरना मत. This is how so many thoughts, so many words we utter, and we feel all of them are very necessary. This is how so much of words, so much of the actions that are involved. Guru has merged all of them in one syllable called Om. That's called Om Upasana. Before that, he might have trained the children. Om का अर्थ है ये सब है. हर बार नहीं बोलता हूँ मैं. Every time I say Om, you must understand, Guru is not only permitted me, but he told me to be very careful every time. Every time Guru need not say, एक बार कह दिया तो he will remember it. But he needs permission because it's a tradition, it's a rule. Therefore Guru says, Om हो गया. Done omiti etad anukruti. Hasmavai. Don't you see the anukaranam is done by the Guru by uttering Om for all the permissions asked to do the work and the report done after accomplishing the work? Yeah. Now, this thing which we do in the Yagnashala should be expanded in the outer world's Vyavahara also. Okay? In the outer Vyavahara, they are not well trained disciples. It can be any unknown person can come, ask about the where is the way to go to that place. No, you can't say Om there. Is it not? You have to explain to him only the way. Even after explaining him, you have to conclude all the explanation into Om. Means start with Om and explain to him this is the way to reach to the temple. Then having explanation completed, भाई आपको समझ गया? हाँ, Om. He should start with Om, explain because it was needed, and he should end with Om because Om is his purpose. Staying in Om is called Upas. All the explanation which he has given to that person was need of the hour. He need not carry the load of it. He should always be in the Om only. So here is an Anukruti. Here Anukruti means a reply. He asked, Vaya kaise jana hai? Then whether somebody asks you the path or you only tell some guidance, direction to somebody. Like in the Yajnashala, somebody asked permission, you gave. Or you yourself might have ordered them to do this. But in the day-to-day life, you tell your child, beta pan leke aao ya market jaake kuch lao. Because they are the needs. But if you are involved in that, you are samsari. But without doing the work also will not happen. But our goal is to do sadhana. How to do? Vyavahara, what is required is you do. But start with Om. ओम करके बेटा आ गया, देखो मार्केट में आके चीज लाओ, आजकल प्लास्टिक अलाउड नहीं है, अपना थैली ले जाना। थैली कहाँ है पापा? मम्मी को बोल तेरे पैंट फाट के वो थैली बना देगी। हाँ, देन टेक दैट बैग एंड ब्रिंग द थिंग्स, पुट इन डिफरेंट प्लेसेस। ओम, देखो, he started with Om. He gave the order to the child. Then he concluded the order in the Om. He is not worried now. क्योंकि वरी की जरूरत नहीं है, अभी काम उसको दे दिया, उसके हाथ में है। और जब करके आएगा तब सोचेंगे फिर क्या टेंशन लेना है। Why should I now tension up? What to do then? You are back in your home. So always aware of the Om. Om is Parabrahma Shabda Rupa. When I am soaked fully in my Omkara, in a completely Omkara Upasana say, then that Om Ucharana Shabda also is merged in the silence. The silence is the experience of Paramatma. All levels of silence. We will see that also a little later. So one example is given, Anukruti. In the same way, when others also order you, because every time you are not the Yajamana or Guru Maharaj, your own father will order you, but he is asking you. Then before answering him, first say Om. Then it is an obligation to answer that person, father. So, हाँ पापा जाके आया हूँ, काम हो गया. You tell him, but you conclude in Om. The काम हो गया is an answer required to tell father, otherwise he will nag you. कितने बार पूछूं मैं, बोलते क्यों नहीं आप? To avoid that, you tell. But while telling, problem is what? We get involved in the action as a doer, and that doing of action has its own wool gathering. देखते देखते संसारी हो जाते हैं, भूल ही जाते हैं कि हमको परमात्मा को पाना है. To avoid that, the Om is taken as central alambana. And Om is not the goal. Goal is Parabrahma. Parabrahma is experience on the seat of meditation. To sit for meditation, effectively do meditation, mind has to be very calm, quiet. To quieten the mind, inside I am doing Omkara Upasana, in the Yajnashala I am doing Omkara Upasana. Now what we are explaining is in the Vyavahara also, Om Upasana. So wherever you are giving permission to do some work, somebody to do work, and when they report, you have to acknowledge. Or somebody is giving you a work and you have to start doing it, and you have to report it, doing it to others. All the time start with Om, do the work, conclude with Om. This is called as lifting the Om Upasana from the Yajnashala, which is of Anukruti, into the Vyavahara. Never leave Om that seat, even little. That is Upasana. Upasana में उपासक उपास्य को कभी नहीं छोड़ेगा. That's called Upasana. That's the meaning of Upayana. साथ में बैठना, पकड़ के बैठना. I told you the 3 levels of Upasana. First level is very near. Second level is sitting in the lap. Third is merging one, becoming one only. Upasana. कभी भी ओम को नहीं बोलना. भूल गया ओम, भटक गए रूप नाम में, भटक गए मल्टीप्लिसिटी में. Immediately the mind gets a chance to label them. Immediately the likes, dislikes come. Immediately samsara begins, which is not required except binding us with dukkha. All the raga dvesha yukta vyavahara, what is it giving me, batao? चाहे बंदा कितना भी बढ़िया हो और आप उसके प्रति निस्वार्थता से बहुत राग रखे हो, मतलब यू हर्ड दैट कॉजेज दुख ओनली टू यू. इट्स संसार, इट इज माया, इट इज मिथ्या. इसी तो कह रहे हैं, इसको पार जाना है. वी हैव टू रीच ब्रह्मा व्हिच इज बियॉन्ड ऑल दैट. नो, हाउ कैन वी वैल्यू एनीथिंग? No chance given for myself to create any raga dvesha by labeling something as good or bad. How do we do that? I am not recognizing anything separate entity existing as if apart from my own. OM Om. Same way Rama. Everyone is my Rama. Therefore, towards Rama I only have bhakti, not raga dvesha. Where is samsara? याद करो एक बार किसी के मन में राम इतने भरे हुए हैं और सब में वो राम को देख रहा है, तो व्हेन सब में राम को देख रहा है, he'll have only devotion. Is there any chance for raga dvesha? No. Then there's no samsara. Khatam. You and I, there's no Rama or a Oma in us. We have only Kama. Therefore, the samsara we look at with such a differences and all, it creates raga dveshas. Then we are unnecessarily suffering. That non-recognition of Rama or Oma, followed by recognition of people or the things, then slowly attaching goodness in them and feeling to possess them called as desire, all this natak will call as moha maya, which is a natak only, because nothing is permanently remaining. टेम्पररी आया, आकर दुखी कर कर ही गया वो. इज इट नॉट? सब आया दुखी करने को ही. This is very subjectively to be contemplated. I leave it to you as homework. No omiti etad anukurite asmava. No next, o shravaya ashravayanti. In the Yagnashala, o shravaya ashravayanti. Ki, oh beta, now arrangements are made. Start chanting Veda mantra, which will alert the hota also to offer the ahutis on right time, which will alert the devatas who are invoked to receive the oblations. O is the word, Om is the word uttered by the Guru. In that, the meaning is there's an order. There's an order given. What is the order given? Shravaya. वेद मंत्र का उच्चारण शुरू करो. Immediately the disciple also says, yes master sir, shravyanti, they start doing. Ashravyanti means they chant mantra. So, O shravaya ashravyanti. There is an action ordered कि तुम मंत्रोच्चारण शुरू करो ताकि both the advaryu as well as the devata become active. Sorry, hota and devata become active. The hota is ready to offer, then the receiver is ready to receive, the devata. And that meaning he meant by uttering the word Om. In the life also, whenever we ask somebody to tell us something about anybody or anything, if it is all required, not otherwise, then you have to ask him, बताओ वहाँ का क्या हाल? First say Om, then ask him to say. Then when he says, listen. If that whatever is required, hold on to. Not required, drop. Then back to your Omkar. Information आ गया, वह ढक दिया, Om उपासना में बैठ गए. That information, if at all it be received, use. Like again having gone into the home, the wife will ask, कि आपने उनसे पूछा क्या? तो पूछा तो था, he gave the answer, that was kept in the mind. She asked now, then you open that mind and tell her, हाँ मैंने पूछा, उसने बता दिया. But before saying to her, say Om, then tell her what she asked, then conclude with Om. Means what? Vyavahara should have only Vyavaharic reality. More than that, it should not take possession of our Vasanamaya Kosha or Mana or Buddhi. This is called liberation. Why? Because Vyavahara has no value more than that. We give Vyavahara the reality value, therefore that alone becomes life to us. That's the real self we have forgotten. You understand what is moha, what is maya, how it happens, and how to sort out. O Shravaya Ashravayanti of the Agnishala, we have to lift it to our Vyavahara. Then the other things. Om iti samani gayante. When it is Om Sada, the Samagana is happening. Samagana, we can for our practice take it as a sort of obligatory entertainment to be given to the people or to receive when the people give. So the Samagana is not entertainment, it is the praise of the Devatas only through the Sama mantras. So whether it's a praise, whether it's entertainment, the reception, is it not like you are given a mic and you have to introduce because you are the master of ceremonies? Then the chief guest, you have to praise them. And what praise you do is Samagana only. Therefore, don't get lost in the praise or the praise do. That you are doing only as duty. It is not your sadhana, it's not your realization. It is not to be given so much value. How to do? Take Om and do all the Samagana, their stuti, then conclude with Om. You should be left with Om only, nothing other. Others may comment, say, "क्या बढ़िया introduce किया आपने chief guests को." Say Om. Other fellow comes and says, "Yeah, so much you introduced, but one or two important things you have not done." You listen it and say next time and say Om. Om को नहीं छोड़ना. That is the meaning. Okay. Other thing is what you yourself are the chief guest. Of the MC, master of ceremony, is talking great Sama about you. He is achiever of this, doer of this. If you value that, then you will become an ego. And nothing in me is done without the Mahat Brahma or Paramatma. Therefore, even though they give credit to me, I to offer that credit then and then to Lord. How to do? Listen to them what they are saying, but same time say oh. That's called when others are doing your samagana, your attention is not on Om, not in the praise which they are doing. If you accept it, then you become individual. That is again samsara. We should not allow the individuality to solidify. That is the whole purpose, na? Then only on the seat of meditation, you can transcend all individualities with upadhi. Then you can go to the nirupadhika parabrahma. Om, somebody is praising, just say Om. That's it. And they give you a topic to talk on or an occasion. Start with Om and say, develop the topic, whatever they have given, justify it. Or the time you see, audience who are there, topic क्या है, then कितना बढ़िया उसको with quotations कह सकते हो, बता दो, bring your emotion if it's required, depending on the crowd. Youngsters say तो उनको humorously, you have to very dynamically you have to inspire. Old people डांट कर उनको emotionally करना है, बच्चों को हंसाते हुए करना है, same topic. You can teach the Bhajagovindam to the old people in the most pathetic, miserable manner because they are like that only. For the youngsters with the dynamism and inspiration, for the children, mazak hasi hasate hue. Every Upanishad you can teach humorously, you can teach dynamically, you can teach seriously, you can teach ultimately to a disciple. All that, by the way, you will do that on the stage. But ultimately, end of it is what? Sarvam Omarpanam. What should go with you in the Om only? Then when you are traveling in the car way back, all those who came with you, they appreciate you. आपने ऐसा बोला वैसा बढ़िया बोला है. You only don't again discuss with them. हाँ मैंने और भी बोलना चाहा था लेकिन वो मिस हो गया था, अगले बार जरूर बोलूंगा. और भी बताओ कहाँ मैं मेरे ऑर्गेनाइज करेंगे, हर जगह मैं बोलूंगा, बुलाते रहना. This all is samsara. Only say Om when they appreciate. When they give an advice, ये भी बोलना था, take it advice and say Om. Om should remain always with us. This is called Om Upas. All others should come from Om, supported by the Om, merge back in Om. Other than Om, nothing should be important. That is called as Om iti Brahma, Om iti the Sargam, Idagam Sarvam, understood and practiced. If this is not done, then I remain as individual, others as individual. Every activity is important. Through every activity, some sukha or bhoga is expected. Then this is what samsara we are doing. In this, where is reality? Hidden only, concealed only. Unreal multiple world only we are caught up in, no? Now we understand how when we become conscious with respect, reverence about the Om and do Upasana in this way, we are freed from samsara. And mind you, anything, the more you value and get disturbed, it is valuable and disturbing. The zero value we get, you give, and no more disturbing it is. It's in your hand. Even death also can be devalued and you can be free from disturbance. So, okay, somebody died, okay, everybody dies. You lost 10 crores of rupees. You can commit suicide also with that. मेरा इतना पैसा गया. You can look at खाने को चावल है क्या है तो जाने दो 10 करोड़ कोई गल नहीं. 10 करोड़ कोई खाता नहीं, चावल ही खाते हैं. चावल परोसो. You devalue, you can, it is in your hands. The one who values the world is a samsari. The one who devalues the world is a mukta from samsara. The one who values Paramatma is sadhaka. The one who discovers Paramatma is siddha. ओमिति ब्रह्मा ओमिति एतकं सर्वं देन ओमित्येत अनुकृति अस्मवाप्यो श्रावयति श्रावयन्ति सामानि गायन्ति शस्त्राणि शगं सन्ति ओमित्यर्यु प्रतिगरं प्रतिगृणाति ओमिति ब्राह्मण ओम ब्रह्मा प्रसौति. Up to this you do homework. Tomorrow I'll explain the last two. ओमिति ब्राह्मण प्रवक्षन्नाः ब्रह्मोपाप्नवानीति ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोति. This much I'll explain and summarize the whole thing. How through this upasana, the sadhaka becomes so strong that all Parabrahma is in Vedas, all the Omkara is in Vedas, all Parabrahma is in Omkara, all Vedas are in Omkara. By the support of the Om, I will understand all Vedas and practice what is said in the Veda, and I also understand what is said in Vedanta, practice that and experience. That much he will take out the blessings from the Om because he has valued Om so much. That's called as Upasana. This little bit we touch tomorrow. Today time was I am not explaining that. Om iti by the earlier practices has become so strong that it is a beginning and concluding thing. What is that? Om iti brahmana pravakshan aha brahmopapnavani iti brahma eva apnoti. He has soaked himself in Om Upasana so much that he believes that the Om will make him understand all Vedas and make him do whatever is to be done according to Veda. And he is so strong in belief that Om will teach me the Vedanta Mahavakya Tattvamasi, and through the blessing of Om, Tattvamasi is understood as Aham Brahmasmi. With that faith in Om, he will pursue the Vedanta. With the faith in Om, he will do the sadhana Vedanta. With the faith in Om, he will experience the result of Vedanta. A bhakta does it for Rama or Krishna. Tomorrow is Krishna Ashtami. Is it not? In Om, there are less disturbances or controversies because all devatas are included in Om. In Krishna, then there is a fear. What about Rama? Then what about Devi? If all the fears are dropped, you are single pointedly, without doubt, hesitation, are able to hold Rama or Krishna, that is enough. It's as good as Omkar. What is Om in Vaidika period is your Ishta Devata in your today's sadhana. But we are studying Upanishad, it is from Vedas, therefore we value Om only here. But if you are already so much dedicated to Rama and Krishna, suddenly you सब छोड़कर Om में कैसे आए स्वामी जी? To such people, you take Om as those devatas and do your Rama only. It will give you liberation. Whether you hold on to Om or Rama or Krishna, the point is you have to drop all samsara in that. And with the help of that alambana, you have to reach the beyond. Beyond reaching is only through again jnanam. That jnana you study under the Guru, or that jnana you get by the blessings of the Ishvara. Ishvara may directly give you the jnanam, Ishvara is Krishna, whom you are worshipping, or he himself comes in the form of Guru and teaches. But be clear about what is to be gained, whether it comes through the Guru or by the grace of Krishna, receive from both. खाना खाना है भाई, पत्नी बना के देगी पूरी या ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर किया, जैसा आया वो खाओ ना, खाने पे दृष्टि. In the same way. Little more we'll see tomorrow. It's a very good thing. And today's class, at least listen once more so that a clarity comes. What is the meaning of Pranava Upasana? Omiti idagam sarvam, Omiti Brahma, Omiti idaga sarvam, then the entire practical of it. Okay. Om Purnamada. Om 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavayashyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Paramarashibhyo Namaha Parabrahmane Namaha Shrutimatre Namaha Vedavyasa Vaishampayana Yajnavalkyadya Shankaracharya Varyadi Gurubhyo Namaha Omkara Rupa Mahadramane Namaha Omkara Rupa Parabrahmane Namaha Tatsad Brahmarpanam. Wait for 10 minutes to study Vidaraniti.